If I had a dollar for every time somebody's told me Ethereum is dead, it's weakened, it's not coming back the way it used to, it's a laggard, I would be so rich that I wouldn't even have to invest in crypto at all. This is Crypto Simulation Theory. I'm the Gaussian Snake. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about Ethereum and what I expect from it in the coming year, especially in Q1 of 2025. And it's probably not what you think because you're not hearing a whole lot about Ethereum right now. It's just been dead silence. The ETH ETF didn't really do a whole lot. And ETH hasn't even taken out its all-time high. So I can understand why people feel that this, Ethereum just isn't what it used to be. And in some sense, that is true. But would be not prudent to fade Ethereum, especially at this stage as we get into the new year. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Ethereum chart against Bitcoin or ETH Bitcoin, because that's really the place we want to start, because we know Bitcoin is the strongest asset in the entire crypto space. And it makes a lot of sense to look at Ethereum, especially when we think it might be turning the corner and about to head into a stronger phase against Bitcoin. Okay, so this is Ethereum Bitcoin on the weekly. We've been following this chart for a really long time, and you might wonder why I'm looking at Ethereum versus Bitcoin instead of Ethereum versus the US dollar. Because I don't care about ETH USD when ETH is underperforming Bitcoin. Because it's like, well, why would I want to look at that price of ETH when Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum, which it has been doing for pretty much years, all throughout this downtrend. I'll start to care about the USD price of Ethereum when I see a change in trend. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't hold Ethereum. I think actually at this stage, not financial advice, like everything in this video is not financial advice. I think even at this stage, holding Ethereum or Ethereum-based projects makes a lot of sense. But so, I think that Ethereum still has some decent ROI left in it, depending on what your definition of decent is. But here's sort of what I'm looking at right now. I'm seeing on the weekly time frame the formation of a potential double bottom. It seems like the 0.035 level is holding pretty solid. And there's a reason for that. If we throw on the VRVP, which I haven't done in ages, in fact, I don't even have it on my saved indicators at the moment. Let's go ahead and put on the visible range volume profile. I want you to look at kind of where we're at. I think I need to zoom out a little bit further. With ETH Bitcoin, you really do. You got to zoom out quite a ways. Let's zoom out to 2017. Okay, look at this brick wall of support that we built out around the 382 fib and where we are now. I don't think Ethereum is going below here. I just don't. I think the 382 fib is a stop sign for ETH Bitcoin. Okay, but is this a double bottom or are we going to range here? That I don't really know for sure. What I can tell you is that Ethereum Bitcoin is really getting pretty it's getting pretty undervalued here. And sometimes you have to look at other charts to see kind of something rounding the corner. I know this is not a video about Bitcoin, but we're going to have to look at Bitcoin dominance because that is highly relevant to ETH Bitcoin. So if we go to Bitcoin dominance, what do we notice there? We notice that Bitcoin dominance looks to at least be in the process of a potential dead cat bounce off of a presumptive, potential blow off top that it had. This is not a very strong or convincing blow off top, but it's a top. It had a very steep drop, and now we're coming back up. We made it all the way to the 60% level almost, and then we're experiencing rejection. We can't really call this a dead cat bounce just yet. This needs to confirm and continue lower. But my point is, there's a strong case to be made that Bitcoin dominance is likely to roll over in a much bigger way as we head into the new year. So you have that, right? Let's go back to the ETH Bitcoin chart. So what is going on beneath the hood of ETH Bitcoin? I'm not talking about moving averages or anything like that. Let's get into some deeper stuff. So this is the average sentiment oscillator for ETH Bitcoin, and it has spent a lot of time being bearish. When you see the red diverged away from the blue, like what you're seeing here, this is very bearish. The bullish stuff is when the red's coming in, but look at how there's almost no green bubbles. When was the last time we had a big green bubble? We've got to go back to 2021 to see that, right? This is like the last time we had a really substantial green bubble, or 2020. It just hasn't happened here. The green bubbles have been so underwhelming, but look what's happening. we're starting to come down from the upper levels of a bear market that's that that bearishness was in control, and it's starting to come down. And that's very typical when you reach these really high levels of bearishness. I mean, when was the last time we were this bearish? That like what we were throughout much of quarter three, and especially quarter four. There's just not a lot of times. You would have to go back to 2019 or maybe even late 2018, which was complete bear market, to find ETH Bitcoin being as bearish as it is. The stochastic oscillator, is at pretty low levels. Could this come down again? Could this kind of range at a low level for another week or two? Sure, it could. But the odds are, if we come down here again, we're going back up. All right, we're gonna take another trip up. And in fact, this could potentially be a higher low and a series of higher lows that we don't know at the moment. But this is kind of bullish right now, seeing the bearishness start to decrease. Another place we want to look is probably the ADX and DI. You can even see it in the ADX and DI. This is like a max bearishness right here with an increasing trend strength all the way through quarter four. And clearly trend strength has peaked out and is coming down. And look at the bear trend is also losing steam. Odds are there's a bullish divergence coming really soon. And this is what I've been noticing. This is what I've been calling for. And it just always seems to come at a time when everybody's starting to give up, the worst possible time to give up. You don't want to chase the narratives in crypto that are running currently or that have already run, because they probably won't come around again for a while. Like, that's not how crypto works. Crypto pumps things that are not obvious. I mean, who saw the pump of XRP coming, or Stellar Lumens, or Polkadot, for crying out loud? Cardano, like, not a lot of people thought that was going to happen in the first stage of our altcoin season, but it did. Just like there's going to be a lot of people who are shocked when this bear market for ETH Bitcoin turns around. And I think it's turning around now. I think it is literally in the process of turning around. And quarter one, 2025 is going to be a big shift. One of the things, that I've been kind of telling people is that, if you're focusing on Bitcoin and what price Bitcoin is going to go to next, you're probably looking at the wrong asset. I suspect that Ethereum is going to kind of steal the show and steal Bitcoin's thunder in 2025. Let me see if I've got fibs I can put on ETHUSD, or if I have to put them on manually. Okay, it doesn't look like I haven't looked at ETH. I just don't look at ETHUSD that often because I don't care about it right now. But I am going to start to care about it a lot as ETH starts to outperform Bitcoin presumptively. Let me throw some fibs on. The Ethereum USD chart, it looks pretty good, honestly. Now you might say, oh, crap, triple top. Yeah, like 1, 2, 3. That's so bearish, right? Is this a triple top, or is this going to turn into a cup and handle? Ethereum has come so far from the depths of the 2022 bear market, where it was below its 236 fib. It has rock solid support around 1,600 to 17ish $100. It has been just repeatedly hitting the 886 fib. I actually see this as bullish, not bearish. ETH hasn't taken out its all-time high, but I think it will in quarter one. Gaussian channel, of course, doesn't look great, but that's just lagging data. That's reflecting this, so don't take it too seriously. It can easily blast off from here. I'm looking at the VRVP. It's fairly stacked where we are right now. There is a little bit of a gap in the 2,700 to 28 something region. I think that it's possible ETH has fallen below at 786 and it's hitting some resistance, so ETH could come down and maybe test the median line of the Gaussian channel or something else. We should look at some moving averages maybe to get an idea of what ETHUSD could test. But overall, I do like the way this looks. Okay, I feel like this is actually a very bullish setup. It's just a slow grind. It's a real slow grind. And Bitcoin dominance was very high during a lot of this time, during all this time. And look at how well ETH did, despite the fact that Bitcoin dominance was high. So ETH is still a monster. It's just a lot of people have forgotten about it. So ETH actually had a death cross back in August. I don't remember when Bitcoin's death cross was, but I think it was around the same time. We've said, usually assets pump into death crosses with whole moving averages. And if you're new to the channel, I don't use SMAs often. So I'm using whole moving averages, or HMAs, which I haven't seen any YouTubers out there do it, but I've been doing it because these moving averages are less lagging. I'm actually going to turn off the Gaussian channel because it's kind of getting in my way and distracting me. Let's flip on a Gauss ribbon though, because Gauss ribbons can be pretty telling. What do you notice is happening? We've got a red ribbon that's starting to close. We actually got above the 100-week HMA. We even got above the 20, and we're holding support on it. There's a potential incoming golden cross. Guess when? Guess when the golden cross would occur of the 50 and the 100? We almost have a golden cross of the 50 and the 200 coming up in just a month, like in January. I expect explosive price action from Ethereum very soon. Within the next few weeks, I think it's going to happen. I think Ethereum's going to, I think it may form a handle to this cup. I mean, I don't know if it has to go all the way to March, right? I think Ethereum is going to show strength before then. But to me, you've got a golden cross incoming, several of them. We've already got the golden cross of the 20 with the 100. Then we wait for the 50, and then, from there, we're good to go. Okay, these are the core moving averages that I look at. I've also got a red Gauss ribbon. If you watched my videos on Bitcoin and it's Gaussian ribbons, you know that this red ribbon closing and a green one opening is bullish. Like, where have we seen this before? We've seen this here in 2020. Boom, bull market, massive bull market. So I think, and we've seen this before then too, right? And I don't even know if Ethereum didn't have a red ribbon there because it couldn't. I've seen it once before. All right, go back to Bitcoin. I've shown plenty of examples of these small red ribbons. Mania is coming for ETH. It is. I can see it. I think Ethereum's got a shot at 15 to 20K as its end price, which is a good 5x to 6x from here. Which is, I mean, people complain about a 5 or 6x move, but I mean, like, if you're investing in Ethereum, you're admittedly not taking on a lot of risk. So compared to investing into a smaller altcoin. So that all looks really good and promising for ETH. So I try to draw a linear regression channel for ETH USD, and I can't really get as great of a one as I got with Bitcoin. It's just a moderate trend, but it is still pretty good, right? And you can see that ETH USD is kind of slightly below its median line. And, if we go to January, the median line is at 3,627. But if we were to kind of, come up to these higher levels, we're talking $5,000 or $6,000 ETH. And it's possible we break out of this channel. It's not a strong trend. It's a moderate trend. And I think this trend is more likely to break to the upside than to the downside. That's just what I think. I don't think ETH is going to be going and crashing down here. Yeah, I mean, anything could happen. It could surprise us, but that's just not my base case at all. I'm quite bullish on it. One thing we have never done, or if we have, it's been a long time, is do a logarithmic regression rainbow on ETH USD. I actually don't think I've ever done this. Let's do this and see what it looks like. Okay, so I did a logarithmic regression rainbow going back 440 weeks. Okay, so this is fit to 440 weeks of data. It's a fairly strong trend. The orange line is the median line, and then I've got this set up in standard deviations of 0.5 all the way to 3 standard deviations in either direction. This is, again, ETH USD. So notice that we're kind of hugging the 0.5 logarithmic regression line, and it looks like we're kind of coming back down, maybe to like a quarter line in here, but I think this is going to end up being a macro higher low in this trend right here from Q4 into Q1. And I think we're going to start to come back up to these levels, like the +1 level, which would currently be at about $5,800, a new all-time high. I think that's definitely going to get hit fairly soon in Q1. And I think, the plus 1.5, which is where we topped out last cycle, is at 9,000 right now. If we were to hit that later on in the year, it'd be around 11,000 or so. I think we could go all the way up to here. Even though we didn't make it there last cycle, we know last cycle got cut short. We know in the cycle before that, we made it to the 2.5. So I think we could make it to the 2 later in the year if our bull run goes that far, which is around that $15,000 level. Okay. So 15K is kind of like a target in my head that I have. Could we go lower? Sure, we could, but I'm thinking 15K at the least, and potentially even blow off to like 20K, depending, of course, on what Bitcoin does and how long this cycle actually goes. If the ETH hasn't done much, right? This just looks like a giant accumulation range, just giant accumulation range going all the way back to the low of June of 2022. And we spent like a lot of the time underneath this median line. I think we established it as support recently. So I don't even think we're going to hit it. I think we're going to curl back up here, cup and handle. That's my base case. I can't promise you ETH will be at a new all-time high on the first week of the new year, but I think it's going to happen in Q1 2025. And I think I've given you enough data-driven arguments for why I believe that. So you can do your own research and determine for yourself. So what does this mean? Like, as a responsible investor, I would think of having some Ethereum exposure in my portfolio. This is not financial advice for you. This is just kind of my thoughts for myself. That Ethereum exposure can come in the form of Ethereum directly or projects on the ETH network that you believe in. Okay. Either way, I think there's a lot of projects that haven't run yet. They look like they're left for dead and people have just given up on them. And I think those are the ones that are actually most likely to have surprise, earth-shattering pumps in this year, in 2025. I think that we can remember 2024 as we close out this year as being a Bitcoin year. I think it was also a Solana year, a base year. Base, of course, is on Ethereum, but it definitely was not an Ethereum year at any point. So, the money rotates and people want to maximize the return on investment. ETH can become deflationary at times. I don't know if it is right now. My guess is it may not be, but I haven't looked it up, so I don't know. But I think that 2025 is really going to be an ETH year, and I think, you can clump in altcoins with that as well. I don't think 2025 is going to be a Bitcoin year. Will there be times where Bitcoin steals the show? Of course. Bitcoin drives the market, but I think there'll be plenty of times when Bitcoin is ranging. And that's going to allow things like ETH and altcoins to run. So I think that home for Ethereum is $15,000. That's where I think home is located. And I think ETH is going home. Until next time, I'll see you in the simulation. Join me in my Telegram channel if you want more frequent interaction with me and hundreds of other people who are just as hungry for crypto market knowledge as you. Completely free. Love to see you there. Otherwise, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that jazz. All right, folks. Talk to you next time. Bye.